welcome back everyone for some more Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, and we're ready to begin the trial here, which there's only 1 day of the trial here. As a matter of fact, this trial is going to take the rest of this case, which is going to be 8 episodes, so we are going to be in for the long haul here, but we are ready to defend Athena Sykes, who has been indicted on the charge of murder. But before we get into things here, hope you guys have an awesome day today. Hope you guys are doing well. So without further ado, December 20th, 3:11 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 5. I did a little research. I looked into those special psyche locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. You did? That's great. I really appreciate it. A red psyche lock protects a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. If the person folds under questioning, the lock breaks and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Fulbright and Director Cosmos. But a black psyche lock protects a secret from the deepest place in a person's heart. A secret that that person isn't even consciously aware of. So even they don't know it's there. I don't know why I said it like that. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the psyche locks. According to my research, a black psyche lock is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they are ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Gulp. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright, but will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all my focus and strength. And you can't do that if I'm there. I'll just hold you back. No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls. Alright, I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Good. Now that my mind is at ease, I'd better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. December 20th, District Court, Courtroom number 4. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. Day 1, court is now in session. All rise. Court, or some facsimile thereof, is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. Humph. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth, did you not hear what I just said to his honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the odious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. If we can find the real truth behind that case today. Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, Ray, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it. If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
Oh boy! Oh, this is awesome. This brings back so many good memories. Reunited, feels so good. There's immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did it either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's gonna be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I am here as a simple prosecutor. Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I have ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Well, of course. You're right. I was just joking. Just having a little fun. So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the Euro 1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Meta Sykes, was killed in a robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother, Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder, and two, this photo, which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed. Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the child's sponsor, after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you're a very kind associate concerned for the welfare of the elderly. As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. Prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years. New testimony? Just who is this witness anyway? Oh hey there, Detective Fulbright. Bobby Fulbright's the name, and justice we trust. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. She says she's too busy with what with confining and threatening the hostages and all. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Clonco. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation, and though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted, and I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go. Witness testimony. Aura Blackwell's theory. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they saw Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he was really out there to steal that moonrock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab, but they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock, and they had a perfectly good reason to think that, too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab, and that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. I can see why the footage helped to bring this trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. 7-year-old video updated in the court record, video showing the corridor to the crime scene. Blackwell was the only one to pass through at the time of the crime. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant, Athena Sykes, found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony, and there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is, Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi? That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course, the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yeah, she's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Ray. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Hey there, Dark Demo. Order! Order in the court! What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself, but we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could, Detective Albright, please refer to the notes. We're going to go ahead and save because we are ready to do cross-examining. Cross-examination. Or Blackwell's theory. Simon isn't a murderer, he was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they saw Simon commit the murder. I mean, if he really was out there to steal that moon rock, then why ruling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes.
Hold it!
But that's nothing more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? Think it was the moon rock?
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in that case? Well, Mr. Wright, can you? Yikes. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? You know, I'm going to. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else I was missing, right? No sweat. Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is. This is a crime scene taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? Let me go ahead and save. All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be in one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now. Alright then, Mr. Wright. Let us hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder? Well, the one thing that wasn't in the previous photo, and that was this.
Take that!
He took this. I'm afraid I never heard mention of that being removed from the crime scene. He saw straight through that. Tell me you have something more substantial than that, Mr. Right? Well, I have something more... Oh, crap. Let me go ahead. Load. Okay, let's try that again. I picked the wrong thing. Yeah, but that has to be it, though. Oh! Oh, no, 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 no. I'm an idiot. 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 And I'm sure you guys are calling me an idiot, too. It's not this. This is not what it's that.
Take that!
Please notice that there is a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which... What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball. Stingy, stingy. What happened at the age of 3 previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm for that robot there? Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just a moonwalk and a robot arm. But was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there's another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in this case. What?
Objection!
We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not. But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the technological illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to. And that is... this, the Hack 1 exhibit.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. She must have thought the machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. The robotic arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Order in a court. Order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this? I can see that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it was the largest the case is, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. The case does come up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that. They've got me there. So then, did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit in the case by... I think he made him fit by dismantling her. Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. Appears to be a robot assembly device. Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick? Sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Except that there was a body on the table where robots had dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But, what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? You mean the sword? Yes, Your Honor, Miss Blackwell. I'd like to hear your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. The joints aren't made of a very tough material. A blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation. You can't mean... That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely the rest of Ponko was scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside the case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder. Whoa. My head! My head! My body! Where am I? Ah. Order. Order in the court. It's true that Ponko was found in pieces after the murder, and I'll admit I repaired it myself afterward. Photo of the crime updated in the court record. The photo shows Blackwell taking the robot apart. There's a bloodstain on the end of the robot's arm. Yes, finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell innocent.
Objection!
Innocent. Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight. Does the prosecution withdraw its claim the defendant was carried from the scene? No, Your Honor, my claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have been both inside that case.
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth. He's been one step ahead of me this whole time. In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body, if he were holding something or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found in the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape. A blood stain with a distinctive shape? Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there is only one in the world. A special pair of headphones made just for her. She always wore those big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. Analysis showed the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted on Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp. Most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene, and that concludes the prosecution's argument. Crap. Order! If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making a ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but you can't say that the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case. But, as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand. And with that, we are going to go ahead and save here. The next time I see you guys, we are going to be hearing testimony from the robot. I mean, after all, it's not far-fetched. I mean, in the very first game, we did hear testimony from the parrots, so... But with that, thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. I'll be seeing you guys again next time.